guys, so I have read quite a few of the weird girl books that are popular on TikTok, so I thought that I would go through the ones that I've read, give my review on all of them, and if I would recommend them or not. So what makes a book a weird girl book is a literary fiction book that either has an unlikable main character and or has an unconventional plot, so like a book with no plot, that's either gross or weird things happen in them, or the main character is gross and very unlikable. I really like reading these books because I love psychoanalyzing people and characters, and I can really admire when an author makes a reader feel a really strong emotion about a character, even if it's disgust and disliking the main character. I think that that's really hard to do and really impressive. So the one that I finished most recently is Bunny by Mona Awad, and I really liked this one. I gave it 4 stars and I would recommend it. So this is about this main character named Samantha, and she is in this really prestigious MFA writing program. She's in an all-female cohort with 4 other girls, and these 4 other girls are in this really cliquey group that Samantha calls the Bunnies because they all call each other Bunny, and they're like, "I love you, Bunny," and they're very over the top, girly, and obsessed with each other. And Samantha doesn't like them at first because they're so just obnoxious and cliquey, but she is very intrigued by them. One night they send Samantha an invitation and invite her to their smut salon, which she doesn't really know what that is, but it's one of their hangouts that they have, and Samantha goes to it, and then chaos ensues and all of this weird stuff starts happening. Now, I don't think that Samantha would fall into the unlikable main character category. She's definitely unreliable, but I didn't think she was unlikable. I didn't think she was particularly really likable. She was just kind of there experiencing everything. But the book is really weird because it's like supernatural, and it's kind of a horror book, so it's like a little gory, but I don't think it's too gory or scary. And the whole thing is very open to interpretation, so if you don't like that, then you would not like this book, but I thought it was super fun. I had never read a book that was written like that. There's like a lot of text messages and emojis. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I would recommend it. I gave it 4 stars. So the next one is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, and this is about a woman named Irina who specializes in fetish art. So she takes photos of men in really vulnerable positions, and these photos are really explicit. She gets accepted into an art show, so she has to go through all of her past work, and the book is her reflecting on her past work and telling the reader stories about all of the photos that she's looking at. She is like one of the worst characters I've ever read, so that was super fun to read. The whole book is about power dynamics between men and women, and at what point will men be afraid of women. And once it was revealed why this book is called Boy Parts, it was like such a crazy title drop. But I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I don't know if I would say that it's horror, but it is gory in some parts. And I just thought it was so different and fun, and the main character was so awful that it was so fun to read. Then let's talk about Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. This is about a young woman named Eileen who lives with her alcoholic father and works at a prison, and it is a young boys correctional facility. And this prison psychologist, Rebecca, starts working there, and Eileen becomes very enamored by Rebecca and wants to be friends with her. So they form a relationship, and Rebecca has a lot of qualities about her that Eileen wants. And Eileen is very miserable. She hates her job and her situation and living with her alcoholic father, and throughout the book she's planning ways that she can escape her situation and move to New York City. I personally didn't really like this book. I just thought it was slow and I didn't really care. And the main character, Eileen, was awful, but like not in a good way. Like not in a way that was fun to psychoanalyze. I was just like, I don't care about you and I don't like reading about you. Like she was just really gross and just like awful. Yeah, I just didn't really care for it. I didn't even rate it when I finished it, but I think now I would probably give it like 2 stars. There is a movie adaptation now though with Anne Hathaway in it, so I'm curious and I would definitely watch that. However, I did really like My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh, and I gave this 4 stars. So the main character in this, we actually don't know her name throughout the whole book, which is kind of cool. And both of her parents died, and she's insanely depressed, and her parents left her a lot of money. And she read somewhere that it takes a year for all of the cells in your body to turn over. So after a year, you like kind of have a completely different new body. And because she's so depressed, she plans to sleep for a year so that when she wakes up, she has a completely new body and thinks that that will like mentally heal her. So she basically sets up a way where she can sleep for a year and all of her bills and her rent are on like automatic payments, so she doesn't have to do anything. And she has this awful psychiatrist that will just prescribe her anything she wants, so she takes like these sleeping pills for a year. So this book was like the first weird girl, unlikable main character that I read, so I had a really fun time psychoanalyzing her because I was just like, what is wrong with her? Like, why is this character so awful? And she has this friend that really cared for her, but she like hates the friend. The whole book is all very much in her head, so they could never make a movie adaptation out of this, but it was kind of fun to read what she did during her blackouts because she would just wake up and then try to piece together what she did while she was like high on sleeping pills. It did get slow at some points, but overall I just thought it was really creative and cool to read about. Then I've read 2 Melissa Broder books. I read Milk Fed and The Pisces. I read Milk Fed first, and this was a crazy introduction to Melissa Broder because I had never read an author like her before. I still haven't. I think she does things that a lot of authors don't dare to do. Her writing is very disgusting and raw. So Milk Fed is about a woman who has a really intense eating disorder, and she only eats frozen yogurt because she can like count the calories in the frozen yogurt. And her entire self-worth is based on how she eats. And then she meets this Orthodox Jewish woman named Miriam who she falls in love with, but they can't really be together because of Miriam's religion, and Miriam is obsessed with feeding her. So it's a really intense story about self-worth and the relationship of like food and love. But it honestly was really hard to read because it has like really intense descriptions of disordered eating. So I would not recommend it if that's triggering for you. It was really hard to read. I gave this 3 stars because it wasn't a bad book, but I didn't love it. But I loved The Pisces. So The Pisces is about a woman named Lucy who is going through a breakup. She's really grieving the breakup, and she lives in Arizona, and her sister has a house in Venice and pays Lucy to dog sit over the summer. And one night as she's walking on the beach, she meets a merman and falls in love with the merman, and it's about her relationship with the merman. So Lucy's living in Venice over the summer, and she's going to this like heartbreak grief group, and Melissa Broder's descriptions of the people in this group were so funny and realistic and raw. They felt like caricatures because they were so over the top. The book kind of felt like you were talking to a friend because the main character is having these really weird Tinder hookups, and there are a lot of like spicy scenes, but they're not sexy. They're like very vulgar and realistic, and that was so funny to read. I really liked the descriptions of Venice because I live near Venice, so I'm there all the time. The plot picked up in ways that I wasn't expecting, and the way that Melissa Broder analyzes self-esteem and love addiction was really good in this. And because this book is so weird, I would love to see an A24 or like Emerald Fennell adaptation of it into a movie. I think it would be so good, and I just think visually it could be really cool. And this one is very, very weird, so it's hard to just like recommend this to anyone, but if you like weird girl books, I really liked this. I thought it was great. Okay, the last one is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. I read this one a couple years ago and didn't take that many notes on it, so this is gonna be a pretty short review. Sorry about that. But this is about a woman named Dorothy who is a food critic, and she also dates men and then kills them and eats them. I like don't remember this one that much, but it was super fun. The writing was great. I gave it 4 stars because I really enjoyed reading it. I thought she was a super fun character to explore, but again, a unlikable weird book because she's literally a cannibal. So if that interests you, you can look more into it. I just don't remember it that much. But those are all of the popular weird girl books that I've read. Let me know if you have any more recommendations based on which ones I liked. I know that there are a ton more that I want to read, so I can totally make another video like this. Please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!